Welcome back to another episode of Followers of the Way. I'm your host, Jeremiah. And in today's episode, we're talking common sense. That's right. We're going to be practical. We're going to sit down. We're going to break bread. And you and I going to have a conversation based on common sense. And if you enjoyed the content, definitely hit the subscribe button, the like button, share the content. We're making a big impact when it comes to the true identity of the name. If you like me and you want to support this and you like the content, definitely get the book. Who Do You Say I Am? Great book. You don't believe me? Read the reviews for yourself on TikTok if you follow me there. On Amazon, read the reviews for yourself. And a lot of people have been asking for the study guide to the book, Who Do You Say I Am? Both copies can be found on Amazon Kindle. All right. We are called followers of the way because we are not to label ourselves. We are to follow Yahusha. Before you crucify me, before I jump into this topic, I need you to relax a little bit, okay? And I need you to have an open mind because this episode has nothing to do with religion, denomination, or tradition. This has everything to do with truth, logic, reasoning, and that's right, your own common sense. So it's really hard to have a common sense conversation because you got to examine yourself. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to examine yourself. Forget what you heard, right? Question everything. Who out there believed in a tooth fairy at one point in their life? I did growing up too. When did you stop believing in the tooth fairy? When you began to question everything. So I want you to question everything by using your own common sense. So let me ask you a question. Is it possible, right, that the name of Yahusha is the same as Jesus? It's a question. No wrong or right answer. This is a question. Is it possible? Okay. Is it possible that we can call Yahusha Jesus based off of translation? Just a question. Think about that. All right. Now, in order to get to the truth, we have to do what? Question everything. So we're going to question, is it possible to call Yahusha Jesus based on translation? Let's question translation using common sense. Is that fair? All right. So before we can begin to understand a name, we got to see what is the purpose of a name. Well, the purpose of a name is what? It gives identity, purpose, power. Now, that's a principle that is universal. Everything that has a name has identity. Everything that has identity has purpose and power based on name. Universal principle. Can't change that. Make sense? Now, let's look at the word translation. Is it possible to translate a name but keep purpose, identity, and power the same? Is it possible? Based off common sense? No. How can you translate a name, but you can't translate identity, purpose, and power? If we can translate a name, then according to the principle of behind the purpose of a name, we must follow suit and also translate identity, purpose, power. Can it be done? No. So common sense tells us what? A name cannot be changed based off translation. Okay, here's an example. A wife takes the husband's last name. Do the wife translate her last name to the husband name? I never heard that. The wife takes on the husband's last name. And what takes place when the wife change her name to the husband last name? The wife then takes on a new identity, a new purpose, and power. Remember Tina Turner? Those of you, go ahead and Google her. Tina Turner was a real big pop icon. There's a movie, a documentary about her life. She was married to Ike Turner. Now, Ike Turner married Tina. Tina became Tina Turner. Well, they got a divorce. Tina Turner said in court, take everything. I'm keeping the name. Why? Why do Tina want to keep the last name Turner? Well, Tina Turner said she worked very hard for that name. Now, because of the name Turner, everybody know Tina. So Tina Turner, the name Turner, gave Tina a new identity, new purpose, and power. Tina's last name wasn't translated to Turner. It was changed to Turner, because if her last name, if it was possible to just translate her last name and then she can somehow keep the power of Turner, it doesn't work that way. Based off law, based off logic, based off reasoning, and based off common sense. So when a person get married, the question is, do they translate their last name to the husband, or do they change it? Question for you. That's right. They change the name. So based off common sense, a name cannot be based on translation. You can't translate a name. We change the name. All right. Second argument, a lot of people say transliteration. Okay. Let's question everything. Can we transliterate a name? Yes, absolutely we can. Here's the principle. The name, when you translate it, it has to be sound preserved. You cannot transliterate a name and change the sound. That's called you changed it, right? Let's put it to a test. The name Yahuwah and the name Yahusha. Let's look at those. Yahu, Y-A-H-U, Yahuwah, Yahusha. Same sound. Well, the Messiah said he comes in the name of his father. The father name is Yahuwah. The son name is Yahusha. Same sound. Let's put the name Yahuwah and Yahusha to the test of transliteration based off principle. Yahweh, Yahusha, Yahuwah, Yahweh. Different sound. So Yahuwah cannot be transliterated to Yahweh. Okay. Jehovah, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Jehovah. Different sound. Jesus, Yahusha, Jesus, Jesus. Different sound. Yeshus, Yesu, Yesu, Yahusha, Yah, yes, who, Yah, yes, who. Different sound. You see, we can never, ever, based off the principle, using common sense, transliterate any of those names to Yahusha or Yahuwah, and we can't transliterate Yahuwah or Yahusha to any of those names based off the principle of transliteration. The sound of the name isn't preserved. Now, we're talking common sense. None of this is Bible. Let's go into history. Now, if we look at history, a little bit of history, the alphabet. We all know the alphabet, right? The Messiah was born Hebrew. The Bible says he came through the tribe of Judah. So he was Hebrew by birth. That was his nationality. Now, if he was Hebrew and Mary Hebrew and Joseph Hebrew, the alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet, contains no letter J. The Greek alphabet, no letter J. The Latin alphabet contains no letter J. Now, using common sense, if there's no letter J in the Hebrew alphabet, the Greek alphabet, the Latin alphabet, till this day, no letter J, using your own common sense, question everything. How can his name be called Jesus 2,000 years ago when there is no letter J to this day in Hebrew, in Greek, or Latin alphabet? Make it make sense to you. Can't. Now, let's look at the letter J. The letter J came into the alphabet in the 16th century. Okay. The Messiah walked the earth a little bit over 2,000 years ago. All right. What number is greater, 2,000 or 500? 2,000 is a greater number. So 2,000 years ago, they called his name Yahusha. The letter J came into the alphabet less than 500 years ago. Now, based off transliteration, the principle, based off translation, the principles, using logic, reasoning, and common sense, we just questioned, can a name be transliterated? So Yahusha could not be transliterated to Jesus less than 500 years ago. We all know that a name cannot be based off translation. It can't be translated. So we should know based off common sense, Jesus cannot be translated to Yahusha, and Yahusha can't be translated to Jesus. We're talking common sense, right? Question everything. Ask yourself, does it make sense to you? That's all. Does it make sense to you? All right. So based off common sense, history, logic, reasoning, the rules of transliteration, the rules of translation, his name today is still Yahusha. I didn't give you Bible. I didn't give you tradition. I didn't give you what I believe. We're talking common sense here. We're talking common sense. And even common sense cannot give us any type of explanation how his name can be called anything today other than Yahusha, based off common sense. So I want to leave you with something. The Bible says the first commandment, hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our Elohim, is one. Relax. Let this resonate. The name Yahuwah, when he gave to Moses in Exodus 3:15, he said, this is my name forever. If he, Yahuwah, is all knowing, he couldn't say at that time, 4,000 years ago, to Moses, this is my name forever. If he would have known his name will be able to be transliterated or translated, then his name could not be forever. He couldn't have said that. If the principles of transliteration, if the principles of transliteration is true, he could not have told Moses in Exodus 3:15, this is my name, Yahuwah, forever. Because he should have known the principles of transliteration, the principles of translation can change his name. But they can't. So that should be an eye opener to help you understand that the name is forever. Here's another fun fact. If you look into the book of Mark, right? Mark in the book of Matthew, Mark 16:17 says, these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name, they shall cast out devils. Matthew 28:19 says, go therefore and baptize in my name, right? Philippians chapter 2, verses 10-11 says, every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that Yahusha is master. Did he say names or did he say name? Now, question everything. If we are to baptize in the name of Yahusha, and if we can only cast out devils in the name of Yahusha, and every knee, both small and great, will bow before the name of Yahusha, can any other name outside of the name of Yahusha have power? Question it using your own common sense based off what we just talked about. Can any other name have power outside of the name Yahusha? And I'm going to close with this. If there is only one Elohim, and his name is Yahuwah, and we just had a common sense conversation about names, can they not be transliterated principle? We talked a little bit about history in the letter J. And if there's only one Elohim, why is it, based off common sense, it's so hard for people to accept his name? Why? We accept the name of Bel. We accept the name of Buddha. We accept the name of Muhammad. But when it comes to the name of Yahusha, we want to change it. We want to call him whatever we want to call him. Why? Let that resonate with you. Think about that. Question everything. Why? It's one Elohim. He said his name's forever. It can't be changed based on transliteration, based on translation and history itself. Why is it so hard to believe his name is Yahusha? With all you're getting, with all your understanding, get some common sense. And if you want to know more, hit me up in the comments. I do reply.